Hello, this is Group 9's investigative project. The topic of our group is the effect of different sugars on the carbon dioxide produced by Saccharomyces cerevisiae. We base this project on how monosaccharides and disaccharides affect the respiration of yeast. This can be done by changing the type of sugars. We experimented with a total of 5 sugars, namely glucose, fructose, sucrose, maltose, and lactose.
Our hypothesis was that monosaccharides have a higher metabolic rate than disaccharides, as they have a simpler chemical structure and thus should be easier to break down. We also expect the rate of carbon dioxide production by yeast fermentation to be more in glucose than in fructose. Similarly, maltose will have a higher rate of carbon dioxide production than sucrose. Moreover, our hypothesis also states that even if disaccharides will take more time to produce carbon dioxide, they will produce a higher amount of carbon dioxide than monosaccharides. Lastly, lactose will not be broken down easily in yeast fermentation due to yeast lacking the enzyme lactase, which breaks lactose down.
Yeast ferments in two ways: aerobic respiration and alcoholic fermentation. In aerobic respiration, carbohydrates are converted into CO2 and H2O. In anaerobic respiration, yeast undergoes alcoholic fermentation, which converts carbohydrates into ethanol and CO2. The picture on the right side shows our first experiment. The CO2 produced from the fermentation of yeast in the first conical flask would turn the lime water in the other conical flask milky as it would reach it through the bent tube. This proved that CO2 is produced in yeast fermentation. The picture on the right side was our pilot experiment. CO2 produced would be released in the measuring cylinder containing water. The decrease in the water level would be the amount of CO2 produced. The conical flask contained a sugar solution with yeast in it, but due to a few errors, we had to come up with a new setup. This is the top view of our pilot experiment. This was a new setup and final one. 5 grams of a particular sugar were dissolved in 200 ml of water with 5 grams of yeast. CO2 produced would go in the balloon. We subtracted the initial circumference of the balloon from the circumference of the inflated balloon, which gave us the amount of CO2 produced. We performed this experiment for all 5 sugars and noted the inflation in the balloon for every 5 minutes for 60 minutes.
These are our results. As you can see, the rate of glucose production was erratic, having been lower than that of fructose and sucrose for the first 15 minutes, after which it surpassed both sugars. The graphs demonstrate this as well. In conclusion, the total CO2 produced in 60 minutes during yeast fermentation was the maximum in glucose, followed by sucrose, fructose, maltose, and lactose in their respective order, when metabolized separately. Only a part of our first hypothesis was true, and we were able to support our second hypothesis, but our third hypothesis was rejected. As a matter of fact, maltose produced little to no CO2 in the time span of an hour in our experiment.
The next and last part of our project was searching and trying to find out the reason behind our research findings. So firstly, glucose had the largest rate of carbon dioxide production. So it had the largest rate of energy production. The reason behind this could be that glucose was directly used in the glycolysis cycle, which is the first step in fermentation and aerobic oxidation, and it did not require any extra energy to convert it into a usable form. Secondly, fructose had the third largest rate of carbon dioxide production because it could not be used immediately in the glycolysis chain and had to be altered before it entered the process as one of the intermediates. Sucrose had the second highest rate of carbon dioxide production. The reason behind this could be that sucrose requires an enzyme or energy input to break it down into glucose and fructose in order for it to be processed in glycolysis. Maltose had the lowest rate of carbon dioxide production among the 5 sugars. There are 3 possible explanations to this. First, glucose contamination. Glucose could be accidentally added to the setup, which led to no expression of maltose permeases, and thus maltose could not be transported across the membrane to enter the yeast cells to be metabolized. The second possible reason could be that 1 hour was not long enough to observe utilization of maltose. And lastly, as expected, little to no fermentation occurred in the setup which had lactose, as our yeast did not have the enzyme called lactase that breaks down lactose into glucose and galactose.
This is group 9, and I am Shefali Matkar, roll number 27.
I am Neha Sane, roll number 36.
I am Khushi Rao, roll number 35.
I'm Mukta Zog, roll number 16. Thank you.